Eric Martin with Board Game Geek. I'm here with Tiffany Kairas from Deepwater Games, looking at Sorcerer Stones, initially released by Emperor S4, and now Deepwater is bringing it to the U.S.
Yay!
Out in English, revised English edition, I guess I would say.
Yep.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I was going to mention Origins. Origins is the release date.
That's right. Origins 2018, June, for those who don't know what Origins is. But you can show us how to play here. We have a two-player setup.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing with our sorcerers and stones?
So, now we're set up. Okay.
Okay.
So the idea is that we are Taoists, and we're aligning the spirit stones in the alchemy boards, alchemy regions, and via aligning the stones so that they pair up across the alchemy zones, we can gain those spirit stones. And we can use those spirit stones to move in the spirit realm. And by moving in the spirit realm, when you get adjacent to other Taoist gi points, I always want to mispronounce it, you can gain it for points.
Okay.
In addition, you can use your stones to acquire artifacts, and you will gain points, and you gain bonus points for the gem colors on artifacts that are your player color, and also for gi stones that you've collected in the spirit realm. So the two-player plays identical to the three-player and the four-player, which is great. So yeah, and that's the spiel. We can just jump into how to play. Yeah. So what you're going to do is on your turn, you can, so every player has their own deck of cards, and the deck is the same. So everybody's deck, they're identical. Everybody has the same cards. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a hand of 4 cards. You can play up to 2 cards on your turn. And these cards will allow you to manipulate the alchemy zones.
Okay.
So you can actually manipulate any zone and any stones. Doesn't have to be where you are. But at the end of your turn, you probably want what you've done to help you in relation to where you are. But you could do it to mess with other people.
That's right.
If you're like, oh, I can't get anything anyway, I'll just manipulate.
I'm just killing time.
Exactly. So the powers are pretty straightforward. So there's the fly card. So the fly card allows you to move your Taoist to anywhere on this board. You can't go where somebody else is. There's just not room.
That's right.
Yeah.
Give my spirit some space.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Then there's shift cards. There's 1 shift card for every color spirit stone available, and it's just a swap. So you must swap the stone that is the color that you played. So in this case, I would have to swap a green. So I could take this green and swap it with this yellow if I wanted to do that. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to cheat and pull out more cards from my deck. Another one, very simple, is the spin card. So with the spin card, you take any alchemy zone and you can rotate it 90 degrees clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay. So for example, none of these super benefit me, but maybe I would do this one. It doesn't have to be the one you're on. You can also rotate the center one if you really want. So that's the spin. Then you have the quake, which is my favorite. Quake just lets you move stones, or alchemy zones. So you can take the entire zone and you can move it anywhere, but you're not allowed to rotate it when you do that.
Okay.
So in this case, I could take it and move it here. I've obviously played way more than 2 cards, but
that's right.
So I could move it like that. Then we'll say I didn't cheat, and that's totally valid, and I only played 2 cards, which didn't happen. At the end of your turn, you gain stones that you have aligned. So I've aligned these 2 greens across the alchemy zones. Even though these are aligned within my zone, I don't gain them because it has to be across zones. Yeah. So I would gain this green crystal. If I had managed to do this, which is entirely cheating, I would also gain this yellow, right? So that is pretty straightforward. Then there's a fun one where you can do 3 in a row diagonal.
Okay.
So as long as...
Which you did.
Which I did. So as long as one of the stones in the 3 in a row diagonal is on your zone, you can get that stone. So if this had been here, it's still 3 in a row diagonal, but I would only get one of these stones. Right. I would just pick which one I wanted.
Okay.
So in this instance, I would have gained this one. I put them on my card. At the end of my turn, I have to discard down to 5 or use them. I only have 2. All of these cards cost 3. So if I had achieved in getting a yellow, I could discard them to gain this card. It's 3 points at the end of the game.
Okay.
And there's that. In addition...
And if not, your possibly using them to move.
Exactly. Well, so you're always using them to move.
Okay.
The discarding them for artifacts is after you already move. So technically, before you put it on the card, you're supposed to move. So in this case, I didn't pick up that one. I could move on green and brown, and you can only move adjacent. I am this color, and I'm screwed. So let's say I cheated and actually did that. I can do the yellow and then the green and then the brown.
Okay.
And I can do it in any order. You just can't move diagonal. If I had somehow managed to move one additional space, so I was adjacent to one of these zones, at the end of the turn I would gain this, and these decrease in value. So I would be the first person to get this one. In addition, because I have this, from now on, if I pick up any of these cards that have a brown stone on them, I get an additional 1 point at the end of the game.
Okay.
So the game ends on 3 possible conditions. One is you have collected all of the 4 geese stones that aren't your color.
Okay.
Because you have red, you have your player color.
Red.
Yeah.
Yes.
You actually get a bonus if I pick up red stones. I'll get a bonus point, and that's what these are. It's just refined crystals, and so that's a point. So that's one in condition. The other, and if you achieve it that way, if you get one of each of these stones, that means every card that you have is 6 points, which is pretty awesome. So that's how I usually win. But another way for the game to end is if all the artifacts have been taken, or all of the refined stones have been taken, the refined crystals, and the number of these in the game depends on the player count.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's...
And then we refill at the end?
Yeah, so you discard... Well, this is the end of the queue. So you discard from here, and you refill from here. I'll put my cheating back. You refill from here, and you do it clockwise respective to the person's where they're sitting oriented. So we're sitting adjacent, so it's not quite critical. But so in this case, I would do the blue and then the green. Okay. But if I had been sitting across the table, it would have been, So the starting stone could potentially be different. So at the end of your turn, you draw back up to 4 cards. There's no way to discard, so if you don't like a card, you have to use it. And if you ever run out of cards, you just shuffle your discard and draw. In addition, there are ability cards that you can add for advanced variants. And there are several in the box, and you can mix and match, or you can do random, and there's recommended sets. So they just trigger based on different conditions to allow you to do different things or gain points, etc. So for example, this one, when you gain an artifact card, you may move your Taoist for free anywhere. Okay. Or you can move in the spirit realm 1 space for free as well. So this could help you get that 1 extra spot to get one of the tokens. And in addition, this one will give you points when you gain stones from the alchemy zones. If you gain 2 stones, you'll get 1 refined crystal, which is a point. If you have 3 stones, you get 2. And if you get 4 stones, which means you're really good at aligning your chi, you get 4 bonus crystals.
Okay, which could, of course, hasten the game a lot.
Exactly, yeah. And then the last one, just for an example, if you want, moving in the spirit realm can be really tricky. And so, because you can block each other, you can't move through spaces where other people are. Mm-hmm. And so being able to move in the spirit realm is helpful. So if this card is in play, you can discard a stone from your card to move 1 additional space in the spirit realm. And the color of the stone doesn't matter in regards to where you're moving. Right. So it's just another way to get that extra step in the spirit realm.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, that's Sorcerer Stones.
Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome.